Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This week flight will be in Dubai. I'll be doing a night and day comparison. I'm excited about this. And would love to visit Dubai one day, hopefully, if this pandemic goes away. For now, this is one of the best ways to travel, or at least seeing all these amazing places. Now sit back and enjoy the show. Remember to like, share, comment and subscribe for more great contents and hit the notification bell. Despite the international turmoil over the cost of oil, Dubai is already considered to be the Hong Kong of the Middle East. When the world's oil supply runs out, Dubai would survive in a new oil-free world unlike Riyadh. Commercial activity in the Dubai region would simply grow instead of wither because Dubai was a major trading center centuries before oil was known to even exist. The Emirates' trade access with Iran is similar to Hong Kong's trade with the People's Republic of China, due to Iran being ostracized by the majority of the Western world. Dubai skyline, 2010. During the 21st century, Dubai may have to implement policies that move away from globalization and toward localization to conserve their energy resources, provide local jobs to citizens of the United Arab Emirates instead of foreign citizens, and maintain their local decision-making authority. Zoning policies would be adjusted by Dubai's municipal government to promote resource conservation and eliminate sprawl. While Dubai has opened its doors to tourists by permitting non-Muslims to drink alcoholic beverages, a lot of these services are being used by the foreign-born workers who take jobs away from legal residents of the UAE. The last remaining oil deposits in the United Arab Emirates will run out at the end of 2029. Even when there is no more oil in the UAE, their federal government will make 90% of the income that they earned in 2013 by virtue of milking the tourism industry to the fullest. As of February 2006, Dubai, along with the rest of the United Arab Emirates, only has a reserve supply of 44 billion barrels of crude petroleum. If used properly and in conjunction with alternate fuels, the reserve fuels that will keep economy activity afloat in Dubai will last until the end of the 21st century. Disputes. In addition to the long-running dispute between Abu Dhabi and Dubai, Dubai was also involved in a dispute with Sharjah with regards to their legal boundaries. Before the British left, there were no exact boundaries defined between the trucial states. However, with the discovery of oil needing boundaries to be decided for concession reasons, Britain was required to define the boundaries. After Julian Walker, a British official, later the British political agent, had surveyed the area, Mr. Tripp, the British political agent, made declarations between 1956 and 1957, defining the boundaries. Although the rulers of both Dubai and Sharjah had agreed in 1954 to accept the rulings made, Dubai's ruler declined to accept the decision. Even after the formation of the UAE, neither state had agreed on the boundaries, and hence, on 30 November 1976, they signed an arbitration compromise on international terms. The United Arab Emirates, UAE, is a federation of 7 states that has grown from a quiet backwater to one of the Middle East's most important economic centers. Though traditionally conservative, the UAE is one of the most liberal countries in the Gulf, with other cultures and beliefs generally tolerated. Politically, it remains authoritarian. However, relations with neighboring Iran have been tense because of an ongoing territorial dispute over Gulf islands. The UAE was one of only 3 countries to recognize Taliban rule in Afghanistan. Before oil was discovered in the 1950s, the UAE's economy was dependent on fishing and a declining pearl industry. But since oil exports began in 1962, the country's society and economy have been transformed. The UAE has diversified and has become a regional trading and tourism hub. UAE firms have invested heavily abroad. 7000 BCE 7th century records of the area where the emirate and city of Dubai is situated are very rare for any period before the 18th century. During the expansion of the Sheikh Zayed Road between 1993 and 1998, remnants of a mangrove swamp were uncovered, which were dated to approximately 7000 BCE. It is thought that by about 3000 BCE, the coastline had moved seaward sufficiently towards the present-day coastline, and the area became covered in sand. As it became more inhabitable, nomadic cattle herders used the area to live and herd in. The date palm began to be grown locally in 2500 BCE and was the first instance of the land being used for agricultural purposes. The herders worship the god S.I.R, and various evidence suggests links to the mysterious Magan civilization, who it is thought controlled the copper trade of this part of the ancient world, and of which there are archaeological sites in Bahrain. For the next about 2,700 years there are no more details, probably because of the desertification, insignificance, and remoteness of the area, until the area came part of the Maka satrapy, the southernmost satrapy of the Achaemenid Empire, and followed by the Sasanian Empire, the last pre-Islamic Iranian Empire, several hundred years later in the 3rd century CE. Recent excavations of the Jumeirah area of Dubai have unearthed a 6th century caravan station, suggesting the area was sparsely inhabited during this period. 7th century 1800 Al-Fahidi Fort in Dubai in the late 1950s, built in 1787. Al-Fahidi Fort today. Al-Fahidi Fort is the oldest existing building in Dubai. The Umayyads introduced Islam to the area in the 7th century and sparked the vitalization of the area, opening up trade routes supported by fishing and pearl diving to eastern regions, such as modern-day Pakistan and India, with reports of ships traveling as far as China to trade. The earliest written mention of the area of Dubai was in 1095 by Abd Abd al-H al-Bakr Plus in his Mahama Staham Menisme al-Belad wal-Mawadhiya, in which he describes many places of the world compiled from other accounts of them. It was not until 1799 that the town had its first record. However, the Venetian Gasparo Balbi, a renowned pearl merchant, mentioned Dubai in a list of places he noted for the exceptional quality of their pearls in the year 1590. 1800-1966 Sheikh Juma al-Maktoum, left, and Sheikh Saeed bin Maktoum al-Maktoum, right, of the Maktoum family. In the early 19th century, the Al-Abu Falasa dynasty, part of the House of Al-Falasi, of the Bani Yaz tribe, established Dubai, which remained independent of Abu Dhabi until 1833. On 8 January 1820, the Sheikh of Dubai and other sheikhs in the region signed the General Maritime Peace Treaty with the British government, which aimed to end plundering and piracy in the region, and was the first formal denunciation of the slave trade in Emirati history. However, in 1833 the Al-Maktoum dynasty, also descendants of the House of Al-Falasi, of the Bani Yaz tribe, left the settlement of Abu Dhabi and took over Dubai from the Abu Falasa clan without resistance, led by Maktoum bin Budi, the founder of the present-day Al-Maktoum dynasty. In 1841 the town was hit by a devastating smallpox outbreak, which forced many to relocate east to the town of Dera, Dubai. In 1853, in an attempt to further halt the endemic piracy, the British signed another truce, agreeing to stay out of administration of the region in return for a reduction in piracy. This also had the side effect of the area becoming known as the Trucial States. In 1894 a fire swept through Dera, burning down most of the homes. However, perfect geographical positioning and thriving business enabled the rebuilding of the city. The success of the area led Sheikh Maktoum to sign an exclusive business deal with the British in 1892, making Dubai a British protectorate, and in 1894, granted full tax exemption for all foreign traders. By 1903, the Sheikh had succeeded in convincing a major British steamship line to make Dubai a port of call. Merchants from Linga looked across to the Arab shore of the Persian Gulf, finally making their homes in Dubai. They continued to trade with Linga, however, as do many of the Does in Dubai Creek today, and they named their district Bastakia, after the Bastak region in southern Persia. At this time, almost a quarter of the population was of non-Emirati origin. 1912-1944 After various rulers, Sheikh Saeed bin Maktoum bin Hashir al-Maktoum, who became ruler in 1912, was the first ruler to rule for a substantial period of time and is regarded by many as one of the fathers of Dubai. The times of prosperity thanks to the pearl industry continued solidly through until the Great Depression of 1929. The emergence of artificial pearls had begun to hit the economy of Dubai and, coupled with the effects of the depression, caused the Sheikh to explore other opportunities for expansion. In 1929, he was briefly deposed and succeeded by Sheikh Mani bin Rashid, a relative. However, 3 days later he was restored to the throne and ruled until his death. This resulted in the emergence of Dubai as the premier re-export business port, whereby goods are imported into a duty-free port and immediately exported to another market. Dubai has the main entrepot in the Persian Gulf and the busiest trading port since 1900, with commerce being the main source of revenue for the emirate. The merchant class in Dubai played a key role in restructuring the economy and government decision-making in the pre-oil era of Dubai's development. Today merchants play a fundamental role in economic affairs and the political structure. In addition, again they have taken on roles as service suppliers, urban planners, culture mediators, and internationalists representing the region throughout the world. Dubai suffered economically after 1920 due to the collapse of the pearl industry, the Great Depression of the 1930s, and the loss of extensive trade networks during World War II. Until the surge of oil revenues in the late 1960s, political instability and merchant unrest existed and constituted an organized attempt to subvert British control and the ruling Al Maktoum family. African slavery was practiced until the 1960s. The uprising of 1938 in Dubai was the culmination of a decade of grievances and minor rebellions against the autocratic rule of Sheikh Saad bin Maktoum, ruled 1912-58. In the 1930s, the Trucial Coast was characterized by great poverty, resulting primarily from a decline in the pearl trade. Much of the initiative for reform sprang from an attempt to ameliorate economic conditions, the leaders of the movement having previously been successful pearl merchants. The new government established in October 1938 lasted only a few months before Sheikh Saad, with Bedouin support, was able to overthrow it in March 1939. The collapse of the reform movement is attributable to the role played by British agents and the weakness of the political structure that was set up. 1945-1958, a dispute between Dubai and Abu Dhabi regarding their border escalated into armed conflict between the two states, with Dubai attacking a number of Abu Dhabi towns in the country's interior. Arbitration by the British in 1949 resulted in the creation of a buffer frontier running south. 1966 present-day discovery of oil. The major turning point in the history and fortunes of Dubai was the discovery of oil in 1966. Coupled with the joining of the newly independent country of Qatar and Dubai to create a new currency, the rial, after the devaluation of the Persian Gulf rupee which had been issued by the government of India, it enabled Dubai to rapidly expand and grow. Once the first shipment of oil was made in 1969, the future of Dubai as an autonomous state was secured, and its ability to dictate policy in later years to the UAE was cemented. Formation of the UAE. Britain left the Persian Gulf in the early part of 1971, having announced their intentions in 1968, causing Dubai and Abu Dhabi, in conjunction with 5 other emirates, to form the United Arab Emirates. Dubai and Abu Dhabi ensured in the negotiations that between them they could control the country effectively, enabling even greater expansion as seen today. In 1973, Dubai joined the other emirates in introducing the UAE dirham, the uniform currency of the UAE. Dubai and Abu Dhabi between them now hold the majority of control in the UAE, which was part of their conditions for joining. To enable this, Abu Dhabi and Dubai are the only emirates who have veto power over matters of national importance, whereas the other emirates only have a vote on such matters. In addition to this, Dubai is represented by 8 members on the Federal National Council, of whom there are 40 in total. Dubai and Ras Al Khaimah are the only 2 states who retain their own judicial courts, whilst the others are part of the federal justice system of the UAE. The Jebel Ali Free Zone was introduced in 1979, providing companies with unrestricted import of labor and export of capital, which helped to jumpstart the influx of global companies seen today. 1990 present day. The current emir, Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, the death of Sheikh Rashid Al Maktoum, resulted in the accession of Sheikh Maktoum bin Rashid Al Maktoum to the throne. The Persian Gulf War of 1990, in which Dubai as part of the UAE, provided military aid to the coalition, unsettled the economy. However, in the mid-1990s this stabilized, and many foreign trading communities moved their businesses to Dubai. Thank you for watching my video. Hope you learned something. Remember to like, share and subscribe.